Sailing for days in the open sea, hunting the blood of my enemies, searching for gold with Gilmekki, we're the pirates of the coast.
Hello, everybody. This is Rich, and you are watching Bsawr, which is Black Sails, Apocalypse World, and running.
Running.
Yeah, that's right, running. This is Josh, my co-host. How are you doing, Josh?
Hey, I'm doing well. I'm hot in Nashville with that air conditioning, but otherwise, I'm doing great.
You'd be hotter if you got the ham hocks back, baby.
Yeah, right?
That's what I'm saying. All right, so if you like the show on Stars called Black Sails, which is a piratical, amazing thing, 2 seasons down, and hopefully many more to come, then imagine as if this whole Black Sails show was written after some actual play of an Apocalypse World game. That's the whole premise of this Bsawr show thing that we do. So we're going to be talking about episode VI, which for those of us who aren't Roman is 6 in the first season. So let's see. You want to do the catch up on what happened in episode 6?
Absolutely. So 5 ends with this standoff where Eleanor's trying to build her new consortium, and Hornigold demands that she lets Vane off the hook because she interdicted him basically in a fit of pique. And so this episode starts with her finally caving and saying, fine, Vane can do business in Nassau again. And just as she does that, Anne is starting to take her stand against the rest of Vane's crew to protect Max. Meanwhile, on the ocean, Flint and his crew have taken the Andromache, but the Andromache's crew is holed up in a bunker inside the ship's hold, and they have control of the guns that Flint came to get, and they also have a whole bunch of slaves underneath them that they are also protecting. So Flint is trying to figure out how to get into the bunker and get those cannons that he needs to take the big Spanish galleon. And he's got the Scarborough, a big British pirate hunter, has been alerted to where he is. So he's only got a few hours to get into that bunker and get the guns that he needs.
Ah, excellent. Yes, to get the Urca de Lima. Anything else, Josh?
No, that's the episode, and now let's talk about some cool scenes. What was your favorite scene?
Oh man, there were a lot of favorite scenes. I would say that you in your roll up there, you talked about when Anne goes to Eleanor about Max. So you know, the lead up to that was that she tried to do a standoff, and I think that's a cool PC move we'll talk about in a minute. But she was a little frustrated in that, so she goes to Eleanor. Now, this is, as far as I can recall, this is the first scene between Eleanor, who is the hard holder of Nassau in this, and Anne, who is our gunlegger. And Anne goes to Eleanor saying, hey, Mr. Hammond and these other folks from Vane's crew, you know, they are doing horrible things to Max, and it's your fault because she says it's your fault and you're doing nothing. Eleanor, of course, tried to save Max, and Max went to Vane's crew as payment for stealing from them, which really John Silver's fault, but she played along. And in it, Anne said, well, we need to kill Mr. Hammond. And Eleanor, smart person that she is, she said, that's a really stupid idea. And so Anne says, you're a coward. And Eleanor says, no, I like to think this through. I'm not afraid to kill Mr. Hammond. I'm saying we should kill them all 8 of Vane's remaining crew, so that no one will suspect that we're guilty of this thing. And I think that that could have actually been maybe a manipulation from Anne, where she said, you know, Max, you're in love with Max, and you're leaving her out to dry. It could be Anne basically gangbuster boxcars on the manipulate and offered an XP to Eleanor, and that's where Eleanor says, "No, I'm not saying we're not going to kill Mr. Hammond. I'm saying we're going to kill all of his 7 buddies too, like all of them, him and the dwarves, the whole thing." So yeah, I really like that scene. It was kind of one of those I didn't expect to ever see Anne and Eleanor cross over, and that was a pretty gritty scene, intense.
Yeah. My favorite scene. Well, I'm split because I really like the scene where Eleanor goes to Silver and says, "You're going to help us slaughter the rest of Vane's crew," and he says, "The hell I am," and she responds, "No, the only person who can possibly keep you alive when Flint gets back is me. So you're going to do whatever the heck I say." That's a nice scene. And I especially I like that for all of the how the characters interact and how it progresses the plot, etc. On the other hand, there are so many scenes in this episode on the Walrus where they are trying to break into the Andromache, and they try a number of different things, and the scenes are shot really well, and the pacing is fantastic, and it is really tense and suspenseful. So I really this is an episode that I like because it's got some really interesting, like, here's like a tactical puzzle pirate style, and it's got a time element, and it's really neat, and they really portray all those difficulties and the suspense very well.
Yeah, absolutely. I really love that, it's all at night and the Scarborough is out there somewhere. And then it's just the amazing MC laying down, foreshadowing future badness, that they don't know where the Scarborough is. It could easily be in range. They've drifted. They're trying not to attract any attention. No light on the deck. There's just all these measures they're taking. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So did we see any player character moves? I already mentioned the manipulate. You said Flint had one in that intense set of scenes of trying to get down to the deck. What were you thinking there?
Well, so Flint's our chopper, and the chopper only has 2 chopper moves. They've got Pack Alpha and they've got Fucking Thieves. And Pack Alpha is when they try and make their gang do something, and Fucking Thieves is when they need something and they go to their gang to get it. So Flint spends a lot of this episode just doing those 2 moves, trying to get his men to operate in this really, really tense situation. And trying to get them to operate as Pack Alpha. But there's one bit that I really like where they try a thing and it doesn't work, and all he says is, "Fine, get me another plan," and walks away. And this is Fucking Thieves. He's like, "Turn out your pockets and saddlebags, gang, because one of you has a plan somewhere, and I want it." Yeah, and that doesn't go over. I don't think he got a 10 on that because said plan doesn't work out very well.
No, it doesn't. Well, most of the plans don't go well at all. Actually, would you say that the failure of Fucking Thieves, basically that was part of the move snowball that led to him saying, "All right, so our next plan," leads to the next PC move. Next plan is that we're going to dangle 4 of you guys over the side, and you're just going to chop your way into the hole. And then I'm thinking he basically says Pack Alpha move. He biffs it, rolls a 2, hard move time, right? And you think, oh, what's this hard move going to be? Mr. Logan, one of the crew members that had been picked, says, "Hey, Billy," the quartermaster, "Hey, Billy, this is bullshit, right?" And Billy's like, "I'm not saying a word." And he goes, "No, seriously, Billy." And every time Flint would look right at Billy. I love that. You better not back with him. But he failed his role, right? So had to make, all of a sudden Gates comes out of nowhere and clocks Mr. Logan, and then kicks him in the gut a couple times and screams at him, "Hey, listen, we're in battle. You better listen to the captain." So you're thinking, hey, the MC is going to offer an opportunity with or without cost. So you think, oh, well, the four are going to go over the side. But then all of a sudden they get a whistle from the lookout. And he's seen a flag that's put out from one of the ropes out the side where the slave quarters is. And that's where the new plan comes, that they're going to have the slave revolt from underneath, underneath where these guys are in the hold. And that's, wow, they're successful because the slaves come up and there's a little bit of death, but they're able to pull the plane off without a hitch as far as they can know. They start moving the gun barrels over, and that's when the MC hard move comes in. The MC was like, I'm going to lay the ground, make them feel really safe. And then a couple of the crew hands are on board and like, hey, look at all this gunpowder. And the whole of the Andromache gone. Yeah.
And puts a giant fireball in the sky, so the Scarborough finds them and opens fire, and they have to bolt out of there under cover of night, and they have to leave some of the guns behind. So they got some of the guns that they need, but they can't get all of them. Classic partial failure there, or partial success there, and they run off. This is the sad part where Josh is annoyed at the show, because we are introduced to the latter half of season 1 big question nonsense, because Flint and Billy are on the bowsprit. They're cutting loose a piece of the Andromache that's keeping them back, and it's going to let the Scarborough catch them. And there's cannons going everywhere and ropes snapping and everything. And then the next scene, Flint comes up shouting, "Man overboard." And we don't know if Billy fell or if Flint pushed him. And we don't know this for the rest of the season, and it's really annoying because it's set up as this big mystery, like, oh, nobody knows if Flint is really that much of a bad guy or if he's actually not. And it's tedious. It goes on forever. And importantly, notably, this is where the show kind of diverges from Apocalypse World principles, right? Flint is our main character. He's the chopper. Things don't happen off camera to PCs, not notable significant things, right? I can't imagine doing this in an actual game where I'm sitting around the table and then Billy goes overboard, but we're not going to figure out whether or not you pushed him or not, player. We're just going to roll with it from here. Yeah, it's really weak, and it's annoying for the rest of the season. So I've said my piece now.
That's a fair point. I thought, man, Billy's like maybe if not the second most handsome guy on this show. I don't think he's gone for good. Plus, he's Billy, and which means that he's part of the thing. He's not dead because he's part of the Treasure Island thing. That this is a kind of, I'm just saying.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until later, that he's Billy Bones. He's in Treasure Island. He's got to survive.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was really annoying.
Sorry for the spoiler.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Not a spoiler, because he's in Treasure Island.
Yeah, you kind of had to know, right? If you knew. But okay, all right. I totally love that, and that was kind of our hard move. I totally jumped ahead with the hard move, but it led so well to that hard move.
The powder kegs blowing up and alerting Scarborough is fabulous, and it releases a lot of the tension. We had all those really tense, suspenseful scenes leading up, and then we had the slave revolt, and like you were saying, the MC lets them feel really comfortable, like, you freed slaves, you're good guys, you win, right? But no, then there's a bomb, and it goes off, and the Scarborough comes after them, and all of that tension, like, falls to the floor. You get a nice action sequence as they flee, and it's lovely.
It is. It's pretty brilliant. Now, there was one other pretty cool standoff kind of set of PC moves that I want to talk about, but I definitely want your point of view on it, Josh. And this is where, before Anne went to Eleanor and came up with a plan, hey, let's just murder them all. Mr. Hammond, who's really just a bastard, he comes rolling up to go to Max, who is currently like the player didn't showed up really late for the session, so they just kept Max in the tent where she's, or the area where she's being imprisoned, and they are basically raping her. And Hammond shows up. It's like, well, I'm gonna clock in, and Anne steps up and says, "No, you're not," and she tries to go aggro on him. Now, I think she's ready to throw down at this point, and that's when Rackham comes like out of stage left, out of nowhere. Whoa! And I'm wondering if maybe he interferes with the role here, because he does. He absolutely interferes with her attempt to get Mr. Hammond to stand down.
Oh yeah. He thinks Hammond's valuable still.
Not only does he think Hammond's valuable, he thinks, hey, there are 8 of them. There's 1 of you and maybe me. And so you do this, and you're going to end up in there with her, and I don't want to see that. And that was pretty nasty. That was definitely a heavy manipulative. You need to back off right here and now. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and the thing that I like about that sequence is that these are PC moves and everything, but they're not the big, weighty, significant things explode and people die moves, but they are really important moves because they snowball. We have her, she starts off with the go aggro, he interferes with it so that it fails, and then he moves in and does a manipulate to get everybody to basically walk away and not kill each other. So you have this nice sequence of moves, and it sets up the conflicts for the rest of the episode. So it gives some structure, some direction to where the action is going to go next without having to be big, weighty, significant things happening every single moment. So it's a nice thing.
Absolutely. And just to kind of, we didn't necessarily talk about this beforehand, but I love that led to Anne making the choice. Well, if Rackham's not going to help me out, I'm definitely doing something for Max. I'm going to Eleanor. Eleanor comes up with a plan where she ropes in John Silver and says, we're going to do this thing. John Silver goes to Mr. Hammond and says, oh, hey, Rackham didn't lose all the pearls, and the reason that you guys are in hock right now and out of money, he's still got some pearls. So Hammond goes and finds the pearls so that he confronts Rackham. And I love that moment of when Mr. Hammond pours out the pearls and Rackham looks at Anne, who's in bed with him, and looks at Anne and says, I'm really disappointed in you, because he knows he's just gotten hosed. Because Anne goes, oh, I know where the rest of the pearls are. Let's go there. And he knows that this is a plot. I love that Rackham's reaction is not to deny anything. He just sucks it up and says, I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, and now that you mention it, actually, it's probably a really nice Rita Sitch, right? He's like, what is happening? Oh, okay. I'm just going to play along. And then after, towards the end of the episode, he turns to her and is like, hey, so why did you just assume that I was not going to warn my fellow crewmates because I have my brotherly bonds of whatever, and why did you think that was going to work? And she just says, because I knew that, but if you had to choose between them or me, you would choose me. And he's like, thanks for that. Yeah.
Oh, man. Before he said that, as they were walking up to the little ambushy point, I love the moment where he says, I would have liked to have had a say. And she said, you had your say.
Yeah.
Oh, God. It was really great scene. Like, as much as I loved all the stuff going on with the Andromache and the Scarborough, that little play between Rackham and Anne was fascinating. And then the payoff for the choice that they made for him to go with her play to take these guys out, the payoff for that led to a bunch of really interesting situations for both of those characters going forward.
Yes, indeed. And we will talk about those in future episodes.
Yes, we will. All right. So have we finished up anything else in the episode you want to talk about?
It. It's a great episode. And we've been kind of sloppy because we've kind of picked it apart. But the episode itself Smooth as butter. Lovely episode. I like it a lot.
Yes, completely agree, Josh. So now it's the last bit of our wonderful Bsawr where we do the part. We talk about our running. I am happy to report that I am currently on week 3 of the Hal Higdon Novice 2 half marathon training.
Woo!
Yeah, so I'm pretty excited. There's a half marathon that's coming up Thanksgiving morning that is here in Jacksonville that I've participated in a couple times, and so I'm starting to get trained up. I ran about 17 miles last week. Ran about 15 this week, and that's so far. So, or not 15 this week ended Sunday. So 3 this week. I'm running a lot more now, and I'm pretty excited.
Yay, training! Awesome.
Cool. What about you, Josh? How are you going with running? I know you just moved.
I moved to Tennessee, and everything is a hill here. Oh my God, everything is a hill. I managed to figure out the best possible scenario for me for a loop that starts and ends at my condo, and even that is a very, very long hill down and a very long hill back up because we're at the top of a hill right here. So there's basically nothing I could do that's not going to be up and down hills. And it's hot and it's humid and I've just been dying. I have stuck pretty well to my my schedule of runs. I've ran every other day. I do a 5K loop, although I haven't been able to consistently run my intervals the entire 5K. Because it's been a while. I had a 6-8 week hiatus in there where I was moving and going to Disney World and things. So yeah, I'm on the very hard road back up onto my routine. And I was supposed to run today because it's Monday, but it's Labor Day, so all schedules get thrown out the door for holiday weekend. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to run Tuesday, Thursday this week, or just wait and continue on my Wednesday and Friday. We'll see. But yeah, we were supposed to do a half marathon this weekend, and among other things, our childcare fell through, and then we're not sure if we're really trained up to a half marathon right now, so we canceled that one, and then we'll be doing Silent City in a few months. So that's on the horizon. I think we'll be ready by then, mostly because I think it will be cooler and I will be better on the runs. But we'll see.
All right, man. If you need an accountability partner, somebody to pep talk you, I'm your guy.
Awesome.
I'm excited. I'm motivated. I'm more motivated to run than I have been in a year. I'm super loving it. My pace is crap, but we can do it.
As long as you complete the run, that's what matters. The pace is a secondary concern.
I'm like one of the super slow kids in the Saturday morning long run with this group of 40-some people. And a couple weekends ago, it was I did my 6-miler, and everybody was eating Chick-fil-A biscuits because it was the monthly member appreciation thing of the club. And a couple of people were standing there eating. They're like, "Hey, Rich, how'd it go?" I said, "I finished. I'm gonna eat this biscuit."
That's all that matters. Oh, actually, I should mention. So we just moved here, and we discovered at our local Fleet Feet, which is around the corner from us. But they have a kids program. So on Sunday, I took the kids, including my 3-year-old, to the Mini Milers program, which was adorable. Basically, it's okay, kids, we're going to do 3 things. We're going to stretch for 10 minutes. Okay, now we're going to do some random drill for 20 minutes. Okay, now we're going to run a race, which in the case of the 3-year-old was 100 meters. And at the end of the race, you get a popsicle. That's it. That's the program. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful thing to watch. And I mention it because there were a number of kids who weren't very fast. But they finished. And one of the things that I really love about run culture Because first of all, there's run culture, which is weird. If you're not in it, you're like, that doesn't exist. But once you're in it, you're like, oh, it's like this whole thing. But there's so much positivity and mutual support and cheering for each other. And that was one of the things that was being taught at mini milers, that like, okay, the slow kids are coming into the end. We need to cheer for them and go or cheer them on. And that was really nice to see. So
it was fantastic, man. Congrats, man. I hope it, that run culture continues and she loves it. So that's cool. So cool. Awesome.
Run
well,
culture is not like pirate culture.
It is not like there's no pirate code. The runner's code is much nicer.
It's true. Okay, well, have fun training up.
You too. Thanks very much. Thanks everybody for watching Bsawr, and we will catch you talk about episode 7. There's only 8 episodes in the first season, so we're almost done with season 1. Thank goodness there's a whole second season.
I forgot there was only 8 in this one. Okay, that explains things. I was like, Billy goes on episode 6, but it's because there's only 2 more. Okay.
Yep. All right. Well, good night, Josh.
Good night.